Welcome to the Family Talk Show. Welcome to Family Talk Show, a program that discusses issues of family concern, a program that encourages family, a program that builds and strengthens family, a platform that encourages family to apply biblical principles in addressing family issues. Today's topic, styles of parenting. According to the books, Psychology and Social Science, there are 4 main types of parenting styles. There are authoritarian parenting, authoritative parenting, permissive/laissez-faire parenting, uninvolved parenting. Styles of parenting. Which parenting style is approved by God? God wants us to raise and train godly offspring. The question is, how do we train our children? Does God give us guidelines how to train our children? The truth is yes, the Word of God. Why is it so important in training our children God's way? These are many questions we all like to know as we now turn over to Pastor Christopher Stevens, who happens to be my husband.
Thank you, David, for that wonderful introduction. I want to welcome all of you again all around the world to Family Talk Show. It is very important that we understand parenting. Why is it very important to parent? We want to look at God's view of parenting. God's desire and purpose is to produce godly offspring. In the beginning, he said, let them be fruitful, multiply, and have dominion. Not ungodly children, not ungodly on population, but godly children. God is looking for children of his own. The Bible says everything produces after its kind. And so God wants to produce himself on the face of the earth and dominate the earth. That is the reason why we parent, for the sole purpose and the outcome of producing people who think like God and function like God. It is a great blessing to have children and grandchildren, but that comes with great responsibility. So having children and grandchildren comes with great price and great responsibility. That is in parenting or training them. Grandparents, school, family members, the church, the school, as much as they may be helping to train our children, to guide our children, is not the primary way God intended for our children to be trained, to be educated, and to be produce skills and ways after the heart of God. God gave parents, not even grandparents, the direct responsibility of training our children or parenting our children. The school is just only a helper, or grandparents or family members. These are secondary helpers. But the primary helpers of training children or parenting children is the responsibility of the parent. So God wants parents to know that, because the Bible says, Lord, children are the heritage of the Lord. The fruit of the womb is his reward. So we need to understand from the Bible that children come from God. Children come from God. And God gave parents the responsibility to train the children and to parent the children. We know there are some exceptions, where grandparents come in, church come in. But the primary responsibility is the parent. And the purpose, because God wants to produce godly offspring that think like him and function like him on earth. We will be looking at the different styles of parenting. My wife mentioned in the introduction there are 4 different styles of parenting. We're going to look at the different styles, and then we will see the connection. So I will just discuss briefly the first 2, and my wife will discuss the last 2, and then we'll see the biblical connection. Now, as my wife mentioned, there are 4 different types. Okay, I'm going to be talking about the authoritarian parenting and the authoritative parenting. In the authoritarian parenting, the parent is not interested in negotiation. I say do it my way because I am your parent. Does it sound like you? If you are a parent and say, no, there's no explanation, I say do it because you are the child and I am the parent. There's no negotiation. That is a sign, okay, of or symptom of authoritarian parenting. Also, in this time of parenting, there's no consideration actually of the child's feelings. The parent is the authority and the child is the subject. So it's a authority-subject relationship. Child feels not taken into consideration. Child views are not taken into consideration. The parent said, do it because I say so. And in this type of parenting, the parent uses punishment instead of discipline. Punishment, all right, instead of discipline. There's no discipline, but everything is just punishment. It's some kind of punishment so the child will be deterred from misbehaving. What are the drawbacks of this particular parenting style? All right, the child can lose his self-esteem because the child just become obedient and a subject, and so the child really doesn't have a self-esteem where he can be able to express himself or express himself, all because they used to obey. So that's the drawback. Also, this child can become very aggressive because as a child suppresses this kind of feeling that he or she cannot express himself or herself, you know, the child keeps the particular feeling of hurt, I can't talk back, and with time, the child can become very hostile and very aggressive because the child is used to just taking orders and not having his view or her view heard. And the second type of parenting style is the authoritative parenting style. Many people seem to like this one because it seems, have good advantages. But look at it. What is this one? The parent maintains a very good relationship, a positive relationship with his or her child. All right, they have good relationship. They talk to each other, and even this kind of parenting, the child entertain the child's view at times. The parents are very considerate, very accommodative of the child's own feelings, what the child thinks. There's some kind of dialogue, but nevertheless, the child, this particular parent, have rules. All right, the authoritative parent have rules, and then also there are consequences. And whatever there is the breaking of this rule, in this kind of parenting, the parent go ahead and enforces the particular consequence for the particular violation. All right, and the child, the parent, unlike the authoritarian, and say no, do so because I say so because I'm your parent. Let the parent allow the child to give his own or her own view. What you think about it, So this is the good thing about this particular parenting style is that it builds the child's self-esteem. The child is able to express himself or herself. The child is confident, and it is said that children who are brought this way, they do well academically, and they do well, behaviorally, compared to the authoritarian. My wife and I will move on to the last two parenting styles. And then from there, we'll see whether they have any biblical basis.
Okay, thank you again. I will be talking about permissive / laissez-faire parenting. Such parent makes rules, but rarely enforce them. It's like you tell the child, "Oh, I want you to do this. If you don't, then I will do that." But then the child will be watching what you say. And you don't take a stand if a child violates your rule. You are not trying to be kind of very tough, but a child got to know where you stand. And if a child falls short of that, you have to say something, you have to take a stand. It doesn't have to be violent. You got to express and tell the child how you didn't like it, how you felt disappointed, and then you could encourage them. But usually, such parents of laissez-faire, they will just make rules but really enforce them. And child just take them for granted. Secondly, the gifts, they will not make friends they will take on more of a friend role than a parent role. We are not saying that you can't be parent or friend to a child, because you have to allow that openness, which will then become a friendship like. But you still don't have to forget to play a parenting role. So you have to be an example, you have to teach them what to do. Because normally some friends, when I tell you what's going on, will just play that one-sided role. But I believe that parents can be both friend and parent. But you should always play that parent role most of the time, because you are the one who is surely in charge. You are responsible. You should be the number one person who is responsible in you and your child relationship. So you can't just be just a friend throughout as a child develops or as a child grows up. So we see that in laissez-faire parenting, where they just want to be friend throughout. They don't come in to really stand their ground by telling the child, look, I've been there before, I am a parent, I'm telling you this. So you are doing both ways. You cannot do it one way. And then also laissez-faire parenting, they are not firm in discouraging bad behavior. Like someone may come and tell a parent, say, look, I saw your child misbehaving that way. And then a laissez-faire parent will just tell the child, look, I mean, they won't even say anything about it. Maybe the child will even want to even ask, yeah, she was trying to tell me this, and just play it down. You have to take a stand when a child goes wrong. Being a parent, people may come and tell you about your parent, but most time, the child will even say, my parent didn't even say anything. She went there and telling my mom that I be, what did my mom say? What did my dad say? Nothing. So you have to take that stand to make the child realize that what he or her did was wrong. Take that stand and then do not encourage bad behavior. After telling them what's wrong, you correct them right away, telling them which way to go. But you can just leave it and then play it down. That is not right. And that what happened to laissez-faire parenting. And some of the things that we see that happen, some of the drawback, we see problems start developing. The child will start struggling academically. Because what? The child is not, there's no guidelines, there's no rules, and we know the Bible speak about that. What child will just leave, or what parent will just leave a child to just misbehave and just do anything? You know that will seem like you are a bastard. If you care about something, you will say something, you will give some rules, that the child cannot just go in and out of your home anytime. Even that child will question, but mama can't say nothing, dad can say nothing. They may not say it, they may think that they are enjoying it, but when they go to other friends' home and they see those kind of rules, they will cherish it, but they will be wondering, why my parents not doing that? Because this is from God's own word. We have to show some restraint to a child that you love. You got to give them some guidelines, some boundaries, some borderline, and so on and so forth. You can't just leave things just going, children going in and out. You can't say nothing. That shows weakness. Even though we are not talking about strength here, but in this time, being a responsible parent, you have to balance it. We're not saying you have to be tough throughout, but you have to play that role, being a friend and then being a parent. Do not forget the parenting style, which is, after being a friend, you have to take a stand. It don't have to be violent. You have to listen to the child's way of, their mindset. That way you know how to interact with them, doing it prayerfully, but also taking a stand as a parent. You cannot be just carefree and then just keep moving on and then forget about the child's life. This is why all these things are happening. We hear those stories out there. You just leave a child, you don't show concern, you don't take a stand when you're supposed to be there. So laissez-faire has a good side and also the bad side. The bad side is if you just go to the extreme by just leaving everything with other people or with the child self, with the child, him, or leaving things just by your child alone. You have to play a role. You got to be ahead in that child decision until they can reach certain stage in life. And you still have to even give them advice. You still have to tell them, oh, this is my opinion. By just telling you, they will think about that. You cannot just leave everything to the child. We have to play that role. God did it to us. We saw that in the Bible, so we had to do that. And then also, we're talking about uninvolved parenting. It's just almost the same. We expect children to raise themselves. Uninvolved parenting. That is not right. These children came into this world not by themselves. They have no idea because chose the different parents for them to come through. So when they are coming through, they have to be guided because we are responsible for them. And most of the time, uninvolved parents spend less time. We understand the times today, but even those days, it would just be like, okay, I have this child, they have aunt, they have grandparents, but you have to play that major role as a parent. There can be some instances where the child cannot be with you for a certain reason. Maybe you are going to work, or maybe because you have to go to some program where maybe you can't take the child. That is different. But you just totally leave your children with their grandparents just because they are around. The grandparents been taking care of you. You are grown now. They can come in and help maybe because they are retired. They're not doing anything more, but you have to take that role to instruct your child in it. It should not be you're happy to just leave or throw your children on their grandparents. They are tired, they are grown, and they need their rest. And as much they can come in once in a while and help, you still have to take it, as a full responsibility, and then stay parent while their grandparents are around. You cannot leave the full responsibility on aunts, uncles, or whatsoever. Also, uninvolved parenting have little or no idea what's going on in their child's life. You will see most of the relationship. A child will start telling you more about the grandparents than their parents because they spend more time with the grandparents who try to open up to these kids, and they even get involved talking with the grandparents more than the parent. The parents don't even know what their child is going through, how their child is thinking. But you even get more information from the grandparents or aunt or uncle than even the parent. That should not be that way. Not that they cannot be involved with other people, but to the point where you don't even know more about your own child. You don't even know the child. You're still in the same country, in the same state, in the same city, even in the same home. But there's no interaction. You don't care about the child's feelings. You don't ask how they feel, what they're going through, even as teenagers. You got to get involved. But if they see someone else getting involved in their life, it's where they turn. And then you are not playing your role at that time. That way, the child keep getting further away from you. And there's always that gap of not understanding each other. And then you end up saying, oh, I can't understand this child. Because you're not taking time, you're not spending time. Spending time with the child doesn't mean you complaining. You can start with conversation. You can talk about other things that the child has interest in. All these things bring and develop relationship between you and your child. So you cannot be, putting your child responsibility on other people. That's why we see things happening, child getting involved in other lives that people don't know about. And as a parent, you get shocked when you hear other people saying what your child is doing. You may not know everything, but you will say, for sure, I know my child can do this. She's capable. But you really know that child. But because you don't know, other people tell you. We have to get involved. We cannot be all involved with children that God has given us. Whether we are rearing somebody's child or not, you have to play the same role. And such such bringing up where the parents or parents are not totally involved, children like that tend to perform poorly in school because there's no relationship. No one to encourage you. No one telling you that you have the potential to step up. That love is not there. Because we know that uninvolved also means that you're not, caring for the child. But once you are uninvolved, you don't care what's happening at your child's school. You're not even going to visit that school. You're not going to call the teacher and say, what is my child's progress? All those things, it shows love and gives the child confidence. But if you're not doing that, they develop poor esteem. They cannot stand on their own because they don't know who's supporting them. And they get so weak, or they just cannot speak out for themselves because no one has been speaking for them. So we have to do all these things, even if we are raising our grandchildren for some other reason. If we have one, you have to apply all these things. You got to be involved in your child's life. You can also involve in your own life, because all these things just need planning and know what's important in the first place. If you know that a child is important to you, you will look at all these things. And that's why God gave us all these things in His Word. So also, then the child will start developing behavioral problems. Same thing. Don't have no self-esteem. So you just talk loosely, whether to react negatively, because you don't have that support. This has nothing to do with riches. It has nothing to do with whether the parents are driving Mercedes-Benz or not. It's just you have to be involved with your children. So you can always find time. We find time for our job. We find time to go partying. But when it comes to our children, people try to just bring that distance. This is why we see all these things going on today. We all have a role to play. Again, remember, not that the grandparents or aunts cannot help, but as a parent, you have that sole responsibility. While you are doing the praying, you have to play a role, whether you are single or not. You brought that child, and you have to always be there for them. While they are going to the aunt or uncle, there should be an explanation why they are there, where you will be. That communication should continue, so that our society will become better, especially in the Christian, area. Children have to be brought up in a way with love, telling them what's going on, and then all these things will help. That's why all this behavior will find them. We just leave them, and the other people have to tell them whether it is right or not. They will have to follow, because they have to follow some kind of way. But we just thank God again for this time that He's given us His Word. His Word is there to guide us, and we have to be practical with His Word. We cannot just read the Scriptures, and the Scripture is telling us how to bring up our children, and we just ignore it. This is what we're going to go through if we do not follow suit. And then we also have to look at the different parenting styles according to psychology and social science. We want to find out if any of these have biblical connections or basics. Because on this program, we look at the biblical perspective of God's view in addressing families' issue. Let us turn over now to my husband to briefly discuss the view of parenting.
Thank you, sweetheart, for a beautiful illustration and exposition on the two last parenting styles. There's some of you watching me right now and listening to me, you thinking, well, my children are grown, I don't have any kids anymore. What do I do? This topic is not for me. My kids are grown, they're all big now, they're married, they have the family, So what should I do with this whole parenting thing? I don't have to let the young people who have children just come into this, raising children. Let them worry about having children, about parenting. But as for me, I'm grown now. I don't really need to hear this word. Listen, every adult or parent wants a child. So if you don't have children right now and you're listening to us and you say, well, my children grown, I don't need to hear this. Listen, every adult, every parent, if you're a parent and adult, you're watching me, you are once a child. And chances are, the kind of parent you are, the kind of adult you are, depends on the way you were trained or parented. So it still applies to you. So if you say, well, I don't have children right now, so I don't need this, because my children are grown, chances are because you're an adult or your parent, okay, maybe your children are grown, but the kind of adult you are is influenced by the child who parenting or rearing or raising. And we have biblical explanation for that. Because God wants us to be parented or to be trained according to His direction, according to His instruction. And so if we're not trained, if we're not parented according to God's biblical prescription, we're going to have problems as adults. We're going to have problems as parents. That some of you enter into the marriage right now, you're married, but you're having serious problem because the way you were parented. And some of you telling your wife, my mom, the way my mom did it, my pa did it this way, and now, because think that because why? Though you are an adult, though you are a parent, but you are influenced somehow by the way you were parenting, the way you were treated as a child. Even though you grew up, nobody tell you what to do. But those same ways, those same attitudes that you got from a childhood in training, it has followed you. I give an example. For example, David. David, who is called a man after God's own heart. David, the great prophet, the great patriarch, David, a man after God's own heart. The man that brought down Goliath. But David has serious parental problem. His own son Absalom came over a rebellion against David. David has to flee the kingdom on bare feet. What happened? Because David was a laissez-faire parent. But you see, David was influenced by his childhood. Can you imagine David as a child? God is about to anoint a king of Israel. And he sent the prophet Samuel. He said, Samuel, I want you to go to the house of Jesse and anoint me a prophet. Samuel did not even know. And the Bible says, all Jesse children came and passed before the prophet. God said, no, not the one. In fact, the Bible says, when Samuel saw it, he said, wow, this is the king of Israel. God said, no. Men look from outside, but look at the heart. Can you imagine David's own father did not even recognize him as a son? But God had to remind Jesse, because he sent all his boys. I'm talking about parenting. I'm talking about parenting. This father never even recognized David as his son. Until the prophet said, well, don't you have another son? David was going through a training that was so traumatic. Because his father didn't recognize him. You remember what David wrote in the Psalm later on in Psalm 27 verse 10? He said, even when my mother and my father forsake me, the Lord will take me. David grew up with so much burden in his heart. Because even his own father recognized him. And the Bible says, the father said, oh yeah. I got one son in the... Can you imagine? How can a father forget his son? So David was isolated. He was ostracized by his own father. He grew up with that kind of thing in his heart. Even though he followed God, his father never even recognized him. But God had to come through the prophet and say, don't you have another son? He said, oh yeah, there's a son also there. And you know how David brother even pick upon him. So David became king. He was a great man, but he had serious parental problems. So and the Bible said Absalom was a very handsome, young-looking man. And I believe, and David wasn't telling him what to do, because he was handsome. And the very handsome boy that David refused to discipline brought a rebellion against David. Read the Bible in 2 Samuel. And David's own son. Why? He was a great prophet. He killed Goliath. But when it came to parenting, and besides Absalom's problem, there were other problems. Why? Because his childhood, he was an adult, but his home was in chaos. I know somebody will say, oh, you know, because he worships the God punishing. Yes, but God used Absalom. Because the Bible says he was very handsome, good looking, and guess what? That some parents also like, oh, stop it, man. Don't do that, man. Oh, you boy, leave it, man. Okay. If you keep that child, oh, leave it, and that child grow and don't see you putting your hand down. So David down, from his childhood experience, treated that kind of way with that kind of trauma, growing up, didn't know how to parent again. So his own son asked him to rebel against him. He said, oh, that's different. I'll give you another example. Jacob, who had through which the 12 tribes came, the 12 tribes of Israel. Jacob. Then look at Isaac and Rebekah. Isaac and Rebekah had two sons, Jacob and Esau. Guess what? The mother said, Jacob, you're my own, you're my favorite. You see? Parents playing favorite. Parenting. And then the father, Isaac, said, Esau, you're my own child. And then the Bible said, Isaac was old now. He was about to bless Esau, who's the first. Because according to the law, the first one's going to get a blessing. And so the mother, because she loved Jacob, that was her favorite child. I think about parenting. So if you say you don't have children, it affects you even as an adult. Because what happened in your childhood, you bring it into the marriage, you bring it to your adulthood, and it influences your family. See? So Jacob now, his mother take it to him. And when you know the story, and put her hair on him, the animal goat skin on him, and she fetched the stew, because what? That's her favorite. And Isaac, the favorite of, Esau, the favorite of Isaac. And the Bible said, and Jacob came and pretended that he Isaac. He said, Father, I brought a fool. He said, but that way, he said, oh yeah, your God provided for me. Not that he was lying. You know the story. And he went and blessed. Why? Because the mother took to Jacob, and the father took to as a favorite. What happened? When Jacob became an adult, what he did? He played favorite. Of all his 12 children, he told Joseph to be a Pharaoh, being different colors of coat. You see the Pharaoh and his brother were. So the same Pharaoh from childhood, he brought the same Pharaoh in adulthood and took one of his children and make that adult. So you see, so don't say because I get no children. You adult, you parent the same way you were brought up, the same thing in your marriage. Maybe your parents never treated you well. As my wife said, they were uninvolved in your school. You suffer, you struggle, you went to school. Now you marry, you get your family fire. Because why? You never had love as a child. You grow by yourself. Now you're out there, you get children. For you to thank God you get children, even though your parents didn't treat you good like David. Now you become an adult now, you give your family fire. Because you were self-read, your family were uninvolved. And so now you care for your wife, you care for your children. Why? Because your childhood. So it's very important. Not tell me, say, you know, I don't get children. No. You as an adult now is influencing you because the way you were read. I rest my case, sweetheart.
Yeah, so this is a very serious topic that don't only start with children, it continues in adulthood.
I'm telling you.
Continuing our behavior, the way we look at our family. We start looking at the past and want to bring it on the innocent children and family. So at this time, we just want to thank you for joining us. We know we cannot exhaust this topic. It's very interesting. It's very deep. So we'll continue this topic next week. And so we just want us to pray for our different family. At this time, we just bow our heads. Father, in the name of Jesus, we know the family can never be forgotten. Where every nation started from a family. This is why we're telling us how to bring up our family. We're praying for families that are hurting everywhere, feeling pain, disappointment. Children are even wondering whether there is God. Yes, Lord, you exist because we break your rules every minute. Forgive us, spare us in different things that we have been doing. As we gather together, Lord, we're not leaving your presence, but just want to continue this, Lord. We'll all be strengthened and encouraged. Reach out to families out there right now, Lord, who are split, separated, hiding, discouraged. We just want to bless you that your word is able to heal. We thank you again for healing families out there and healing families everywhere. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Bye.